All right, let me just go ahead and give kind of a rundown of the order for this morning. And we had several events that are going to be displayed this morning. I guess, is that the right word? Anyway, so we'll start with puppets, and then we have Marie, who did Bible reading. We'll do that next. And then Gideon with his public speaking, and Jubilee with her public speaking. And then finally, after Jubilee, Jeremy, you should have a video. Okay, and then they participated in putting together a video presentation. Then after that, we'll present them with their awards. All right, so this is puppet.
Come on, you can do it.
But I'm scared.
Don't be scared. It'll be fine. The water's only 2 feet deep.
It looks a lot deeper than that. Water and I just don't agree. I don't like water.
That's not true. You don't mind getting in the bathtub, especially when you have a toy fish in your bubbles.
Don't say that. No one needs to know about that.
Okay, I won't mention it again. Come on, jump in. Trust me, you will be fine.
But I don't know how to swim. What if I drown? I've heard that all it takes to drown is a teaspoonful of water. And that looks like a lot more than a teaspoon.
You won't drown. I won't let you. I'm right here, and I will catch you when you jump in. You'll be just fine. Come on, jump in.
Okay. But what if I get attacked by a great big shark? Yes, great big shark teeth. It's too dangerous because of sharks.
This is a swimming pool. You can see all the way to the bottom and all the way across. Do you see any sharks?
Yes, right there.
Where? I don't see any.
There, right there.
Oh, that's just another kid with an inflatable floaty that has a shark fin.
It's what they want you to think.
It's just like your blow-up toy you have in the bathtub.
Mommy!
Sorry, I forgot I wasn't supposed to mention that. So, now that we've established that there are no sharks in the pool, jump in. I gotcha.
Oh, okay. What if there was a tidal wave? Yes, tidal waves are deadly in there. It's too dangerous to get in the water. Tidal waves can sweep you away.
Fred, look, this is a swimming pool. Tidal waves don't happen in swimming pools. They only happen in the ocean. There's absolutely no danger of tidal waves here.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Okay, so now that we've established that there are no tidal waves, jump in. I'm here.
Okay, but what about polar bears? Yes, polar bears. With great big claws and great big teeth. What if they are hungry? I don't want to be polar bear food. It's too dangerous. I don't want to get in the water.
Fred, polar bears only live in the wild and far away in the Arctic where there is ice. That is nowhere near here. Do you see any ice?
Well, no. But what if the water freezes? It freeze and I would get stuck in ice and polar bears would come and it would become a polar bear popsicle?
Fred, there are no polar bears within hundreds of miles of here. It'll be fine. Jump in. I'm right here and I will protect you.
But I'm scared.
I know, but I'm here. And it's just like the story we learned in Sunday school, remember?
You mean the one about Moses?
Yes. And remember when big bad Pharaoh was chasing Moses and all the Israelites?
Yeah.
And do you remember why Moses and the Israelites didn't get away at first?
Because they were next to the sea. The Pharaoh with all his army was right behind them.
And do you remember what God told Moses and all the Israelites to do?
Step forward.
Yes. And do you remember what happened?
The sea split open and they walked across.
Yes. And did Pharaoh get them?
No.
Did they drown in the sea?
No.
Did a shark eat them?
No.
How about a polar bear? Or ice?
No.
And why is that?
Because God was with them and protected them.
Yes. And remember, I'm right here, and I'm with you too. And I will not let anything happen to you. So come on, jump in. I'm right here.
Okay. Here I go. 1, 2, 2.5,
Fred, just jump.
3.
Ah! There. Are you okay?
Barely. Hey, that was kind of fun. Can we do it again?
Sure. But first, let's sing a song about how Moses reminds us that God watches over us.
Moses, Moses, never, never fear. Moses, Moses, God is always near. Moses, Moses, you be very still. Moses, Moses, stand and see his will. Forward, forward, step into the sea. Forward, forward, God will make you free. Forward, forward, he will make a way. Forward, forward, follow God today. Jesus, Jesus, Son of God above. Jesus, Jesus, fill us with your love. Jesus, Jesus, death can't keep him in. Jesus, Jesus, frees us from our sin.
How do you feel now? Are you still scared?
No, let's go again. Yippee!
Yeah, good. My name is Mariva. I'm in 3rd grade. I'll be reading from Exodus 8, 5 through 10 from the NIV. This passage is where Moses and Pharaoh have a discussion about God and his power. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, stretch out your hand with your staff over the streams and canals and ponds, and make frogs come up on the land of Egypt." So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land. But the magicians did the same thing by their secret arts. They also made frogs come up on the land of Egypt. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Pray to the Lord to take the frogs away from me and my people, and I will let your people go to sacrifices to the Lord." Moses said to Pharaoh, "I leave to your honor of setting the time for me to pray for you and your officials and your people, that you and your houses may be rid of frogs, except those who remain in the Nile." "Tomorrow," Pharaoh said. Moses replied, "It will be as you say, so that you may know there is no one like the Lord our God." Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Great puppet show. As you all know, I'm Gideon, and I'm going to be presenting my speech today. Sometimes I have a hard time in church because of a little something called pins and needles. And I'm not talking about being on edge or doctor needles. I'm talking about pins and needles. If you've never had pins and needles, it's like when you feel like you have so much energy, and it just feels like you have to do something with your legs or move or you're just going to explode. You know, sometimes my mom says to be still because I'm just trying to move as much as I can without being a distraction. But this is not what the Lord means by be still. He means be still. He means I got this. If there's something in your life challenging you physically, mentally, or spiritually, He wants you to be still, have faith, pray, and He will take the rest. In 2 Kings chapter 6, we read about an army who's coming to surround the city, and the servants panic, starting in verse 15. When the servant of the man of God got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots surrounded the city. "Oh no, my lord, what shall we do?" the servant asked. "Don't be afraid," the prophet answered. "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Elisha basically says, "Don't be afraid," and then God single-handedly strikes down the army and defeats them. God is always with us, even when all we can see is enemies, fear, or trouble. Sometimes we need to be still and ask the Lord for help. Once upon a time, a dashing and charming and handsome, a little bit dumb, not that dumb, well, I'm actually pretty dumb, young man was banished to his room until it was spotless. In a desperate attempt for entertainment, he decided to skillfully cut a piece of plastic. Fortunately, he was not trained in the art of cutting plastic in half with a stupidly large knife, and so it went very, very, very bad for our young hero. And in the 15-minute drive to the nearest ER, because we live in literally the middle of nowhere, he started to pray that it would be okay and that it wouldn't be that bad. In Exodus chapter 14, the Israelites had their backs to the Red Sea and the Egyptians advancing on them. Things here were looking very bad for the people, but Moses reassures them in verse 13. Moses answered to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord that will bring you today. The Egyptians you see, you will never see again." And then in verse 14, it says the theme of this year's L.T.C. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Well, our charming, handsome, and pretty dumb hero made it through. His prayers were answered that he would regain his strength to his finger and his movement of the finger, and that he would get a good doctor, and that he would be able to keep his finger. Every last one of these prayers were answered by the one and only God, Almighty. I'm very happy to say that my pain and suffering with my finger is almost over. Just one last surgery and about 100 more prayers, and it will all be over. There's one instance of be still that I want to talk about. In Mark chapter 4, we read about Jesus calming the storm, and I'm sure every single one of you people here have heard this story about 100 times or so. But I'm going to tell you it anyway, because there really is a really good message there. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was, in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and waves obey him." I feel like we forget a lot about who we are actually dealing with. I mean, we're talking about the Lord in this story, and they were talking about the Lord, but in the flesh. This is the creator of heaven and earth,
And I think we all forget that he really can do anything. We ask ourselves, who is this in our hearts when we don't put our trust in him? When he says be still, he means this. He's ready to take over and he will answer our prayers. But we need only to be still, stay calm, and have faith. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Did you know 2 out of 3 people are afraid of public speaking, and the other is just lying? Moses was one of these people. He was so afraid of it that he argued with God. In fact, he argued so much that God was angered with him. And if you didn't know, when God gets angry, the earth gets flooded, cities get wiped out, or fire starts falling from the heavens. Strangely, none of these things happened. Instead, God tells Moses that he will be with him. God gives Moses miraculous signs, and God gives Moses his brother Aaron to help him. Whenever Moses or other people became afraid, God would reassure them with words or actions. My favorite one is during Exodus, when the Egyptian army was chasing after the people and they cried out to God. But God says, don't be afraid, but to be still. The phrase, be still, had me thinking, what are the translations of it in other Bibles? All of these scriptures are from chapter 14, verses 13 and 14 from the Exodus. The NIV says, Moses answered the people, do not be afraid, stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still. And then Moses said to the people, do not be afraid, take your stand, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For those Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will never see again. Then the Lord will fight for you, and you keep silent and remain calm. And that was from the Amplified Bible. Though my favorite is from the Message. Moses spoke to the people, don't be afraid, stand firm, and watch God do his work of salvation for you today. Take a good look at the Egyptians today, for you are never going to see them again. God will fight the battle for you. And you need to keep your mouths shut. A lot of times when things start going bad, we complain. And when the people of Israel escaped from Pharaoh, all they did was complain. From Exodus 15, 23 and 24, from the NIV, it says, when they came out of Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying that, what are we to drink? Then from Exodus 16:3, in the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death. And last, but definitely not least, in Exodus 17:3. But the people were thirsty for water there, and they grumbled against Moses. They said, why did you bring us up out of Egypt to make us and our children and our livestock die of thirst? There is one common word in all of these verses, which is grumbled. All they did was grumble against Moses and the Lord. And when we start complaining, blaming, or grumbling, we're complaining against the Lord Almighty. We are telling him up in the heavens that he did something wrong, and that we are the perfect little angels who have never sinned.
But I'm pretty sure everyone in this room can say that they have sinned and that they are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. But the Lord Almighty who is in heaven is perfect. Did you know that the phrase "be still" in Hebrew is Rapha, which doesn't mean to sit down and do nothing? It means to stop striving for things that God doesn't have planned for you yet. This is especially hard for me because as a 16-year-old girl, it's almost the standard to have a boyfriend by now. Every single girl in my class has had at least one in the past years. But I know in my heart no boy is ready for me yet because God hasn't shown him to me. But it's really hard because there are girls in my school who like to hop from boy to boy like they're candy. And this scenario is really hard for me because one of them is my friend and I care about her a lot. But sadly, she hasn't been shown God's love very much. But I've been trying to help her guide her to God's light. But I'm not even close to perfect when it comes to boys. There are multiple boys in my school that I would probably jump at the chance to date them if they even tried. But I'm trying to focus on God's voice and not the devil telling me to go hopping from boy to boy and treating them like items and not like God's amazing creations. So, in conclusion, we as a Christian body need to remember to be still. We need to be content with what we're given and not complain because you're complaining against God's amazing creations. We need to also learn to be patient and not to push things that aren't God's plan for us at this time. And furthermore, you should remember it's okay to be afraid of public speaking, but don't be afraid of what God wants you to say when he calls. Thank you.
Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I'll do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And God spoke unto Moses, and said unto him, I am the Lord, and I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty. But by my name Jehovah was I not known to them.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could part the Red Sea, take all the people with me, and get out of here. Oh, but I gotta ask first. Say, Pharaoh, let my people go before the plagues come down, you know, 'cause my God is true. Oh, but I need to worship our God Yahweh. Time to pick my staff up off the floor. Oh, I'm too nervous. Let's go get Aaron. Well, it takes a strong voice, baby. Aaron, tell the Pharaoh more. 'Cause we gotta have faith. We gotta have faith. 'Cause we gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. We gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. Pharaoh, you're telling all of us to stay. Please, please, we want to go away, but you gotta set us free. Maybe, God means every word he say. Remember the signs of yesterday, because they made your wise men look like fools before the Nile becomes all blood, before this land is covered up in frogs. Oh, Pharaoh, please consider, or boats will flood. You'll reach for a cheeseburger, but all the cows are gone. Yes, we gotta have faith. We gotta have faith. 'Cause we gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. We gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. I'll just have to wait, 'cause we gotta have faith. We gotta have faith. We got have faith. Here comes boils, hail and locusts. The sun goes out and leaves you in the dark. Oh Pharaoh, please consider, for all the firstborn. For an angel is a coming, but he won't come through our doors. 'Cause we gotta have faith. We gotta have faith. 'Cause we gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. We gotta have faith, the faith, the faith.
Right.
Action.
Knee, right leg.
1, 2.
3, 4, turn.
Dancing. Stop. Wait, no. You two are doing this.
Do the bubble thing. Good. Mouth is open again. Again.
Yes.
Hey, Macarena. Hey, oh.
Yes.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going. It's longer than one swoosh. 2, 3, 4, and Lucas Spencer! Yeah!
Everything, I wanted to explain something about the awards and the way they work at for Christ. And Jeremy, could you bring the lights back up again, up here? I know lots of times when you engage in a competition, you're competing with each other. And one of the things that they wanted to avoid with L.T.C. is kids competing with each other, because when you compete with each other, there'll be one that'll have a gold, and one will have a silver, and one will have a bronze. But there may be several kids that did really, really good work, and we wanted to acknowledge them for that. So instead of competing against each other, they compete against a standard. And so there's a rubric, and if they performed at a certain level and it merits a gold medal, they get a gold medal, and there's a silver or a bronze. And so I want to call all of our participants and their families up here. And all right, so I am going to go through everything that they were awarded, and then hand them off to them after I get through with the list. That video presentation you just saw, all three of them participated as a team on that, and for that they received a gold. And the puppets. For that, the team received a gold. And then there is a Bible Bowl and Jubilee. They all participated in that, but I'll get around to the other ones. But Jubilee participated and received a bronze. And then you can see the bulletin board there in the back, which is an interactive bulletin board, by the way. And for that, Jubilee received a gold. And Christian photography, Jubilee has an entry in the back, and for that she received a gold. And for her public speaking, she received a gold. And she also participated in 2 challenge events, and one of them was a leadership challenge where she did leadership activities, and for that she received a gold. And a teaching challenge, and she received a gold for that. And Gideon participated in a children's book, and you can see that he has a copy of that in the back, and for that he received the gold. And in poetry, and there's a copy of that in the back as well, he received the gold. Christian art, you can see his Lego sculpture back there, for that he received the gold. Public speaking, he received the gold. And he also participated in Worship Leadership Challenge, and you can see him up here participating in worship and even organizing a worship service, and for that he received the gold. And Marie participated also in Bible Bowl, and for that received the bronze. And photography, of which there's a copy in the back, she received the gold. In art, she received the gold. And for her Bible reading, received a gold. Did I mention your Bible Bowl? I may have skipped over. Okay, for that, Gideon also participated in Bible Bowl, and for that received the bronze. All right. Marie? Congratulations, and Gideon? Congratulations. And Jubilee? All right, thank you, guys. All right, and some of you young people that maybe, if you're interested in participating, we're going to be having another meeting here in the near future to organize. The theme for next year's L.T.C. is Book of Luke, upside down. And I was thinking we just did something that recently was what was it? The Great Reversal, and so similar to that, but the theme is upside down.